I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
anybody
drive.
to drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a Christmas special review. And our Christmas special review, and yes, I finally am now wearing the Christmas light-up sweater for this review. And our Christmas special review is going to be for none other than 1987's A Garfield Christmas, part of the Garfield and Friends cartoon series. Yeah, our first Christmas special review of the season. So, what's the pretty much the story or idea of A Garfield Christmas? So, this special, you think it would kind of be about, Garfield kind of, thinking what Christmas is really about, like, presents and stuff, but then he learns his lesson, kind of learns the true meaning. Well, surprisingly, no, that's not actually the story. They don't do that story here. They actually do something a little more, simple and grounded. This story is basically, Garfield, John, and Odie, they go to the grandmother's house for Christmas, along with the rest of John's relatives. And Garfield, while there, he finds a present for Grandma. That's pretty much the story. So, as for my reaction, yes. Oh, I should turn this light on. Anyway, as for my reaction, yes, I did watch the Garfield cartoon show a lot as a kid, ever since my intro to it in the 2000s, because I was born in 1998. I wasn't born in the 80s when it first aired. But there would be reruns of Garfield, and this was one of the reruns during the holiday season. I would easily have to say, I think of the Garfield episodes, this is probably one of the best episodes of the series. Yeah, and this is also one of my favorite Christmas specials. I like how this is really just kind of just John and his family hanging out, and not really a Garfield learns something kind of episode, which is actually kind of refreshing for a Christmas episode. Yeah, so I like what they do here. I like it's more about them kind of just hanging out and kind of just spending Christmas together. I really like that. So, how is this kind of made? So, when writing the teleplay, Davis, the creator, based it on experiences he had celebrating Christmas with his family on his farm in Indiana. There are many art buckles that modeled after Davis's family. Davis's real-life brother was named Doc Boy, and Davis referred to the story as very autobiographical, and that was his Christmas on the farm. He noted Grandma was a fictional character, though. He was just added for the emotional subplot of having time with loved ones at Christmas. And yeah, to be fair, the stuff with Grandma is the best stuff of the special, easily. I'll get to more of that later. But Lorenzo Music, Tom Hughes, and Greg Berger would reprise their roles from past other cartoons, and Julie Payne and Pat Harrington Jr. voiced John's mother and father. David L. Lander voiced John's mother, Doc Boy. Grandma was voiced by Pat Carroll, who was becoming very popular in voice work at the time, and then after the special was officially completed, it would be first broadcast on CBS on December 21st, 1987. It would be often rebroadcasted in years at Christmas time until 2000. It did get some reruns, though, on other channels, not CBS. It was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Animated Program. And it was the 7th of 12 Garfield television specials made between 1982 and 1991. It was the last special to air prior to Garfield and Friends. That would premiere 9 months later. Here are the good qualities in the story of this special. What makes this special great is that it reminds me and it reminds you and the viewers of what Christmas should really mean. The holidays is not about receiving or giving gifts, but the love that one person or anyone in general can give to another. This is one holiday special that I wish would get shown a little more often. Like you see Garfield, Odie, and John at Christmas with John's parents, which is what any person needs over the fast holiday season. And it's perfect right here. I like that this is just simple and grounded. It's not some like big adventure story. It's just like John going home for the holidays. And Odie really shows it's not the gift we get, it's the thought and effort put into it. Like Garfield even tells us at the end, it's not the getting, it's not the giving, it's the loving. And the scene with Grandma's memories, like, is easily one of the most touching and heartwarming scenes of the film. It's easily the highlight of the special. Like, the stuff with Grandma is what makes this one of the best episodes. Like, right there, like, Grandma's like the heart of the special. It was one of the best I've seen in any Christmas special yet. And, like, here's the thing. You actually see the sympathetic side of Garfield here. Like, you know Garfield, he's known for being sarcastic. He's known for being a little cynical. He's known for being a little rude at times. And known for being a little lazy. But here, he starts off like that, but as the rest of the special goes, he actually doesn't act like his usual self. As like the special progresses, he actually starts having a pretty good time when he meets Grandma. He actually has a pretty good time at the farm. He's against it, and then he starts to warm up to the idea. And I really like you see an actually more sympathetic side of Garfield here. You see a more caring side of Garfield. Like when he bonds with Grandma, when he hears about Grandma's loved ones that are gone, like he then, of course, follows Odie into the barn when Odie's making Garfield's gift, and then he gets that idea. And he sees all those letters, but I'll get to that stuff later. Like, he becomes accustomed when he remembers how much he likes Grandma, and John and Brother Doc Boy behaving like kids again, barely containing their excitement and stuff. Like, who can around this time of the year? And what on earth, like, Odie would be up to in the barn is what we find out. So, how do we start off the special? So, the special starts off with Garfield having this dream where John makes this lasagna trail for him to his presents, and it's this whole Santa thing that comes to like life and tells Garfield he can think of anything, thinks of a bunch of stuff, and he's dreaming he's getting all this stuff, and then John wakes him up on Christmas Eve morning, and they're going to go to the farm to celebrate Christmas with the rest of John's family on the farm. Garfield is unhappy about this because of them always going to the farm, and that the family never really goes to John's house at all. And he wishes he could so he wouldn't have to leave his bed, And during his drive there, John talks about the Christmases he had when he was a boy, and his parents, his brother, and Grandma. Garfield listens with cynicism. Like, it starts off relatable. Like, when John explains the stuff, chores, work, and stuff, like, he's just complaining about it throughout John's song. That he's kind of singing about how much he would enjoy Christmas as a child, and Garfield's just cynically singing along to it. The animation, like all the other Garfield cartoons, is still very colorful when this first happened. Like with the smooth drawing, the far from sparse backgrounds, the attention to detail holding up very well, music being playful, never placed in too random areas. The songs are very upbeat. They have emotional impact. Like Can't Wait Till Christmas is a good song. There's Not a Dud here. And, well, that hasn't really been said a lot. Like, there's other good songs in the special as well. The entertainment value is also constant. You got these funny, writing, witty humors that get prepped throughout, and very few animated characters, like, really, back in the 80s, were nearly as hilarious as Garfield really was. There's emotional impact, too, that's moving, and it's not all schmaltzy and forced in. You have all the fun that's also this big warm heart, and the constant charm here, too. Like, the story is a little more grounded, but not too simplistic, and doesn't try to do too much and get all cluttered and all over the place. And the sprightly pace keeps really things continually compelling as well. So when Garfield and John and Odie get to the farm, he first meets Grandma and they reunite with the rest of the family. And then Garfield and Grandma immediately re-meet again, and they quickly grow a special bond. And once again, this is the best stuff of the special. This is what makes the special so great, is our scenes together. And this is where Garfield actually starts to warm up to being with the farm. And even he's like, I can tell me and Grandma are going to get along very well. And then John, Garfield, and Odie take a walk to go get a tree for the house to decorate later that night. And Grandma and Mom are making Christmas dinner. And Spike's mom's sausage gravy with chili powder. It's pretty much like Grandma's like bragging that the sausage gravy like just won the county fair. And Mom's like, I hope you're not putting chili in there. Like, no, I'm not. Like, Grandma's not also just an emotional part of the special. She also has some comedy scenes too. Like when John first arrives. And no, of course, no one remembers or misses an old lady. And then John remembers her as well. And when she's trying to spike it with chili and there. And then John and Garfield return from getting the tree for dinner. And John's like, hey, where's Odie? Garfield's like, in the barn, let's eat. And Odie's like working on something secretive and then goes back into the house when nobody's looking. Then they have Christmas dinner together and Grandma gives Garfield some leftovers that she has. And like the dad is like, you're working over like quite a few meals. Like, I'm just working with a dinner with 2. And of course, like she's secretly given some of the food to Garfield. And what we don't realize is that John actually saves a few leftovers for Garfield. It's like, hey, there's a lot left. You want some leftovers? And Garfield's like, nah, I'm trying to work off some weight. Like, without kind of revealing that Grandma actually gave him quite a few of the food already. But he doesn't know. And then after they clean up, and then after dinner, they decorate the whole tree. Or as they call it, trim the tree. Then after that part, and like the dad's like, why can't we put the star on first? Because then it's not much of a tradition if we don't. And so, because the dad can't reach the tree, John pretty much asks Garfield to put the star on because no one else can reach it. Then after Garfield successfully puts the star on, and then of course, you get this other funny quote from Garfield, whoever invented Christmas tree should be shot. When he falls off the tree, he pretty much says that. My God. Which is kind of a dark joke. But it is kind of funny. This was the 80s. There were quite a lot of dark jokes you could put in kids' films in the 80s. Like, or a lot of kids' shows in the 80s. But nowadays, a lot of people would complain about that. But back then, you could actually do it without people getting over mad about it. Like they would today if this was a special made today, people would probably get all mad about it. Like this was just a harmless quote joke. It's not actually trying to make fun of suicide. It was just a harmless little joke. Like, and that's the thing. Sometimes putting on the star is kind of a pain in the butt. Because sometimes either it won't fit, or unless it's kind of the top can be a little high sometimes if you cut down a too big tree. So putting on the star can be a pain, actually. Like, there's been quite a few times. Like, this is actually very relatable. So then after that, the family sings Christmas songs, and like Doc Boy, they have Doc Boy lead one. It's like, oh, but I don't know if I can sing. But then the family sings some more Christmas songs, and then Garfield sees Grandma sitting alone, and she's like remembering her late husband, and how he used to provide for her and the family. Alamett's like, Christmas is when she misses the most. Like, this is one of the most emotional scenes in any Christmas special yet. It's like, Grandma's husband's gone, and Garfield's listening to this and actually feels pretty sorry for her during this moment. And her and Garfield just casting together, and he hears this, and the stuff with Grandma is the best stuff of the special, no doubt. Her and Garfield have good scenes together. Like, they're the best parts of the special. The special really shows a more caring side of Garfield too. Like, you don't get much of the cynical, sarcastic Garfield here, but here he actually grows his bond with Grandma, and their scenes are the highlights. Then, of course, like, after that, of course, like, there's other great comedy bits where the dad is having to be forced to read a Christmas story for the eagerly returning to their kids' selves, John and Doc Boy, called Binky the Clown to Save Christmas, and when he's reading it, Odie licks him, and the dad's like, will you not do that? And then reads that story, and then, of course, finishes reading the story annoyed, and then Garfield, later that night, when everyone's gone to bed, he notices more of Odie's suspicious activity, and he goes to the barn. He sees Odie's making something out of some implements, and while there, Garfield ends up finding these letters that you get to find out what these letters are at the end, and he concludes that they're like 50 years, notices that they're 50 years old letters, and that gives him an idea. Like, So pretty much my favorite parts, like, besides just the grandma stuff, like, when Garfield puts the star on top and it comes crashing down and it says whoever invented Christmas tree should be shot. And then Garfield and Odie even give each other a hug, and the family starts to sing at the end of the special, which I'll explain on that when I get to the finale of the special. When John's grandma tells Garfield stories about Christmas and her late husband, or when the dad has to basically read the Christmas story for his adult kids. And the story's still classic Garfield hilarious. You still get the lasagna in the beginning. You still get the comedy Garfield's known for. You still get spectacular music. Characters still have distinct and amazing hilarious personalities. Underneath the food, jokes, and music has a deeper message. Christmas is more than just getting this new bed or eating more lasagna. Like, you can see why a lot of people really do enjoy the special. We see a lot of ourselves in a lot of some of the more scenes. Like, sometimes are you maybe could be greedy, more dreaming about infinite present like Garfield, but then you kind of realize something, or want to make something special for an important person in your life, or make your family enjoy Christmas in a different situation than usual, kind of like John himself. And speaking of John, guys, throughout the special, you get this hilarious subplot involving John and Doc Boy just going back to being kids again. Throughout the special, basically to the point where in the middle of the night, they literally go far as to annoy their own dad by waking him up in the middle of the night, asking if they could literally go open their presents. And when they wake up the dad, he's like, "It's 1:30 in the morning, no." And then John Doc Boy reply, "But it's Christmas morning now. Yeah, Doc Boy is right. Anytime after midnight is Christmas morning. Go to bed." Okay, fine. It is Christmas morning. I know that, and you know that. That's such a relatable moment for all of us. Sometimes a lot of us go back to being kids again when Christmas happens, and this little scene works so well. So I really like how it really touches on a lot of relatable moments. So now we go on with the finale where it's Christmas morning now, and the family then goes to open the presents. And after all the presents have been opened, Garfield then pretty much announces, "No, Christmas isn't over yet." And he gives Grandma the letters he found in the barn as his Christmas present. And the letters, turns out, were actually love notes written to Grandma by her husband when they first met each other and married. And John's mother's like, "What are the letters saying?" John's grandma's like, "It's inappropriate for someone to discuss their romance with others." And then Garfield finds out what Odie was making the whole entire stay. It was his Christmas gift for Garfield, and that was a homemade back scratcher. And Garfield is touched by this. There's times when Garfield often would kick Odie or often gets annoyed with Odie, but here, there's times when you could tell Garfield genuinely does care about Odie. There was this one Garfield episode where Odie got sent to the pound, and Garfield went back and rescued him, but that rescue attempt failed. And when they spent the night at the pound together, the owner of the pound came to put Odie down, or enthusize Odie, and then Garfield was in tears begging him not to take Odie. That's another one of my favorite episodes. That's another episode that shows Garfield's really caring side. In fact, remember the 2004 live action film? That episode I'm talking about is actually the good version of that movie. You could view it as the actually good version of the 2004 film. The actually way better version. And that says a lot because I hate the 2004 film. I think the live action films suck. But back to this. This is the rare glimpse of Garfield's softer side. Garfield then, right here in a way, learns one of the meats of Christmas. And he tells the viewers, "It's not the giving. It's not the getting. It's the loving. There I said it. Now get out of here." And then the special ends with pretty much the back scratcher forming a song that the family then sings, and it pretty much closes out the special. Right there, guys, the special ends with the family and the pets all singing a final Christmas song together to kind of close it out. And it's a nice way to wrap up the simple special. Garfield showed his more sympathetic side and pretty much helped Grandma remember the times of her husband after hearing all those stories of him. And Odie gets in this back scratcher, and they all sing one, and the family sings one last song together. Now, do I have any bad qualities with the special? I think if I had one, is that you don't get Odie a lot in the special. I mean, Odie is in the special. He still does play a role, but most of the special, he kind of spends most of the special kind of building Garfield's gift. So part of me kind of wishes we still did see a little bit more of him in this special, but that's it. That's really it. And besides, This is a special, it's not a movie. You can't really talk, it's kind of hard to talk about bad qualities in a special. Because a special is really short. So other than that one nitpick, it's another terrific Christmas special for me. So in the end, I would say Garfield Christmas is a Christmas special that is worth watching on TV for sure. In fact, it's on YouTube, and you know what? I'll post a link to the special in the YouTube description below so you all can watch it if you haven't. If you are a Garfield fan and want to see a special where Garfield really shows his caring side in kind of a more simple plot. Anyways, that's it for my review of a Garfield Christmas special. And if we're going to rank a Garfield Christmas, here's how I'm going to rank this special. So overall, if you want to see a good Christmas special, if you are a Garfield fan, I would totally watch this for this holiday season. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank a Garfield Christmas, I'm going to give a Garfield Christmas a 10 out of 10. Alright, there we go guys. That officially wraps up my review for a Garfield Christmas. Now I want to know for those who watched this special in the comments down below what you guys think about this Christmas special. And until then guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.